Hey, what's up everybody and welcome to my channel. I've meant to record this video for a while now and I'm happy that I'm finally getting to it. I'm a fan of smart homes and been building out my smart home since 2016. You may be asking, Terry, what's a smart home? My definition is that a smart home, at a minimum, allows you to control various accessories from different manufacturers remotely from your phone in your smart home platform of choice or via physical switches. However, a real smart home also does things automatically based on various triggers without you having to think about it. Let's start with the first step to building any smart home. It usually begins with the desire to control something remotely. It could be a light switch, a smart plug, a fan, etc. In my case, it was a light switch. I was tired of the light above the driveway being left on all day by accident. Little did I know at the time that automating that one light to turn on at sunset and off at sunrise would create a lifelong obsessive hobby for me. My research for this task led me to Lutron Caseta as the best, most reliable light switch. I bought their starter kit, which included the switch, their bridge, which connects all of their products to your home for speed and reliability, and a Pico remote. At the time, I saw that it worked with Apple HomeKit. And even though I didn't really understand the implications of that integration at the time, I knew that Apple HomeKit would be probably something I want to play with. I got it installed and working perfectly, and that only made me want more. As I said, it usually starts with the need or desire to remote control one or more things, and for most people, it does usually start with the light switch. Now, just about any smart accessory you buy today now has an app that allows you to control it. That's not really a smart home though. Having to remember, maintain, and launch different apps to control different things is a drag. This is where a smart home platform comes in. There are a few very popular smart home platforms out there, like the first two that probably come to mind are the ones you've heard the most about. Amazon's I'm not going to say it, and Google Home. However, there's also my personal favorite, which is Apple Home, formerly HomeKit. There's also Samsung SmartThings and Home Assistant. These are the top ones out there on the market today, but usually you pick one. The purpose of a smart home platform is so that instead of having to use each different manufacturer's app to control each device, you can add all of your smart home devices to the one platform that you chose and use one smart home app to control them all. For me, that's the Apple Home app that comes pre-installed on every iPhone, iPad, or Mac. That's just the first step. Now let's discuss the differences between device control, scenes, and automations. Device control is when I open up the Apple Home app, scroll to a device I want to control, and turn it on or off. Simple. A scene is something you set up to control two or more devices at the same time. For example, a good night scene could turn off all the interior lights and turn on some exterior lights and lock the doors and arm the security system and close the garage door if it was left open. And you can execute a device control or command or scene via your voice assistant. For example, hey, whatever your voice assistant responds to. Lock the back door. That would be a simple command. You could just say out loud and it will do it. Automations, on the other hand, run on their own, and they're based on predefined triggers, such as the time of day, when certain people arrive or leave, a sensor detects something, or an accessory is controlled. This is where the real smart home magic is. I already gave you one example. At sunset, turn on some outside lights. That's a simple automation, and once it's set up, it doesn't require you to do anything else. It just runs every day at sunset, no matter when the sun sets. So without further ado, here are my top favorite automation ideas. The first one I've already mentioned is my sunset automation. I wanted my outside lights to turn on at sunset and my shades to close. That's a very simple automation that any platform should be able to handle and only takes a few moments to set up. However, I also want some inside accent lighting to turn on as well, but only if we're home. So this takes a little bit more effort, but it's not too hard. I needed a consistent way for the automations to know if we're home or not. Therefore, I designated a physical smart plug, actually it's a Lutron dimmer, for this task. And there's nothing plugged into it. However, I have automations and scenes that turn it on when we arrive home, turn it off when the last person leaves. And this way I can use the status of this plug in any automation. And if it's on, that means we're home. If it's off, that means we're not home. Simple. Now I'll convert the steps of this automation to a shortcut. Shortcuts in Apple Home allow you to do more sophisticated automations with logic statements like if-then. I'll search for the if statement and add that command. So if the we're home switch is on, I want it to turn on the accent lights, for example, my blue family room scene. Otherwise, do nothing. So this is the way it works, is that the automation runs the steps in order. First, it will turn on the outside lights no matter what. Then it will check to see if we're home via the smart plug status. And if so, it will turn on the accent lights. And if not, it will do nothing else. So that way the outside lights can turn on either way. If you're a Home Bridge or Home Assistant user, then you can also set up what are called dummy or virtual switches so that you don't have to physically dedicate a physical plug or a switch. And that, of course, cuts down the cost. Let's move on to the sunrise automation. As you might imagine, this kind of does the opposite of sunset. At sunrise, it turns off the outside lights, like that one above the driveway. I also wanted to open certain shades, but again, only if we're home. I set up one similarly with a shortcut that says if we're home, in other words, open the downstairs shades, otherwise close all shades, like in case the shade got left open by mistake. We have 2 dogs, and one of the biggest fears is that they will escape through a door or gate that was accidentally left open. So I created 2 automations that visually let us know if a door or gate is open. We have a door to the backyard, and that's fine if the dogs go out that door because the dogs go out into the backyard all the time. However, I want to know if that door is open. So for this, I have an automation that turns various lights downstairs and upstairs yellow. And this lets us know that either the back door or the door to the garage is open. I have another automation that turns those lights and even more lights red if the gate, front door, or garage car doors are open. I first created scenes for both of these situations that control the lights, for example, yellow alert and red alerts respectively. For this automation to work, however, I have to have multiple triggers. Each contact sensor on those doors and gates is a different trigger. Because it could be, for example, the front door or the left gate or the garage doors. Unfortunately, the Apple Home app doesn't allow you to create an automation with multiple triggers, even though the platform itself supports it under the hood. Almost all third-party HomeKit apps let you create these kinds of automations. My favorite third-party app for controlling Apple Home is called Controller for HomeKit. Although it's not free, it's worth the price of admission, with lots of features, including the ability to back up and restore your home. However, if you're looking for a free app just to create automations with more options, the free Eve app allows you to use multiple triggers. Now, if any exterior door or gate is open, activate the red alert scene. That's simple. Then I created a second automation that is triggered when any exterior door or gate is open, but has a condition that all exterior doors or gates must be closed to activate the stand down from red alert that turns off the red lights. If you figured out that automations have 3 parts, a trigger, a condition, and an action, you're getting it. For example, at 9 a.m., that would be the trigger. When I'm home, that would be the condition. Open the office shades, that would be the action. I love automations that use occupancy or presence sensors as triggers. I have several of these types of automations. Every light switch in my home is now a Lutron Caseta dimmer switch. I also have the Lutron Caseta occupancy sensors in every bathroom, the pantry, the garage, and the upstairs hallway. So when you walk into a bathroom or any one of these areas, the light comes on. When no occupancy is detected after a few minutes, the light and the exhaust fans turn off. Yes, I have the exhaust fans on Lutron Caseta switches. To take things up a notch, I also have some of the Akara FP2 millimeter wave presence sensors. These are more accurate than occupancy or motion sensors alone, and you can even divide the room into different zones. If I walk into my office during the day, nothing happens. If I walk in at night, it turns on the main light. However, if I stand by my desk or sit in my chair during work hours for more than 10 seconds, it sets my at my desk scene, which turns on the background lights that you see in this video, opens the shades, and lowers the thermostat to a cooler temperature. The same goes for my Peloton bike. If I stand near it for 20 seconds or more, then I must be getting ready to do a ride. The automation triggers my working out scene that lowers the two shades behind me, lowers the thermostat, turns on the ceiling fan, turns on the fan behind me, and turns on the various accent lights that I like to look at. When I leave that area for more than 20 or 30 seconds, it turns everything back off and reopens the shades. Rather than setting each accessory separately for each automation, I set up scenes for all of these. At my desk, working out, done working out, etc. This way I can tweak the scene without having to touch the automation every time. Although I have a going upstairs scene that I trigger manually when the last person goes upstairs for the night, there's also that Lutron occupancy sensor in the upstairs hallway that triggers the someone goes upstairs at night automation when the first person goes upstairs. This turns on the lights in the main bedroom and bathroom, as well as turning off some various lights downstairs that we don't need anymore if someone goes upstairs. My next automation I affectionately call Who Let the Dogs Out. The dogs get up early, and whoever goes downstairs with them to let them out first disarms our home security system. This triggers an automation to turn on various lights in the room so the person can get ready, throughout the house so they can see where they're going. And when that person leaves the bedroom, by opening the door, this triggers an automation to turn back off those lights in the bedroom so that the other person can keep sleeping. Lastly, there's my someone came home automation. This might be my favorite. This automation is triggered when either of us arrive home and is based on the geolocation of our iPhones. It unlocks the garage entry door. It disables the security system. This way, once we do open the garage door from our car manually or automated, depending on the car, we can just open the door and walk in. Since Apple doesn't allow you to control a lock directly via an automation, or unlock, I should say, via an automation, you have to set up two automations for this to work. One that turns on a dummy or physical switch or plug, such as my We're Home one, and then another automation that unlocks the door and turns off the security system when the We're Home switch or plug is turned on. These are just a few of my favorite automations. I have over 200 in all. Coming up with creative automations and tweaking scenes and automations is one of my favorite pastimes. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to see more of my videos. Also, share in the comments your favorite automation ideas. I put links in the descriptions to all the products I mentioned here. Here's my smart home tour, my last one. Be sure to check it out before I create my next one. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.